meoinc.org to sign up.
This is KAKU 88.5 FM.
I love you.
The voice of Maui.
You are listening to the Student of Wealth Radio Hour on KAKU 88.5 FM.
Aloha! It's Gemini season. Hi, Gemini! Welcome to Student of Wealth Radio Hour. As tradition, I'd like to open up today's episode with the Lord's Prayer. So, all minds clear, and if you know the Lord's Prayer, please say it with me. And if you don't, see how much of it you can remember. Ready? Okay. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who have trespassed against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. Yay! Aloha. How is everybody? Happy Gemini season. It's our season. If y'all don't know that about me, I'm a Gemini. My birthday's coming up, but I digress. On today, I want to open up and talk about a topic that not enough people really talk about or understand, and that is protecting your ability to earn. This is Disability Insurance Awareness Month. So we're going to talk about disability insurance awareness for business owners and working families. Your ability to earn income is one of your greatest financial assets. Protect it before life forces you to test it. Now, today's broadcast of Student of Wealth Radio Hour is underwritten by Student of Wealth Hawaii, where we believe learning should do more than inform. It should prepare you to navigate life, leadership, and legacy with clarity and confidence. Through financial education, strategic planning, and purpose-driven entrepreneurship, we help individuals, business owners, and families build stronger systems across all 7 dimensions of wealth. So to reserve your free seat at our next Wealth Reset webinar, held every first Thursday of each month, visit studentofwealthhawaii.com. That's studentofwealthhawaii.com, and join our growing community of purpose-driven wealth creators. Now, most people insure their phones, their homes, their cars, even their pets, but never stop to think about protecting the income that makes ownership possible. And if an illness or injury interrupted your paycheck next month, how long would your household remain financially stable? Aloha, everybody, and welcome to Student of Wealth Radio Hour, where we explore the frequency of all 7 dimensions of wealth through the lens of stewardship, structure, and sustainable financial education. I'm Aviella Aloha, financial educator, clarity agent, and systems-focused wealth coach. And today we are talking about one of the most overlooked areas of financial planning: protecting your ability to earn income. Because motivation may help you build wealth, but it's systems that help protect it when life becomes unpredictable. How's everybody doing today? I want you to get out your pen and pad, take notes today, really listen in to see what information you can glean from today's episode, because there is a lot to unpack for us today. Are you a business owner whose household depends heavily on your ability to work consistently? Are you a working woman balancing the household, responsibilities, caregiving, or long-term financial goals while depending on your earned income? Have you ever wondered what would happen financially if illness, injury, stress, or recovery interrupted your paycheck for several weeks, months, or even years? Do you currently have systems in place to help protect your household during a season of unexpected income interruption? Because many families build their lives around their income. Do you? Without building the systems to protect that income, what might happen? So today's episode is designed to simply talk about disability and simplify disability insurance in plain language. We're going to discuss what disability insurance is, the difference between short-term and a long-term coverage, common myths and misunderstandings, important policy features for you to understand, and how income protection fits into an overall healthy financial plan. We'll also explore how properly structured financial tools and emergency systems may help households navigate waiting periods and unexpected interruptions with greater stability and peace of mind. Warren Buffett once said, "Risk comes from not knowing what you're doing." Risk comes from not knowing what you're doing. Today's conversation is about reducing financial risk through education, preparation, and practical stewardship, because your paycheck doesn't just support your lifestyle. It supports your responsibilities, your relationships, your future goals, and the systems that keep your household moving forward. Your ability to earn income is one of your greatest financial assets. Protect it before life forces you to test it. Oh, what is disability insurance? Who knows? Raise your hand. Do you know what disability insurance is? Let me share it with you. Disability insurance is basically a paycheck protection tool. If sickness or injury prevent you from working, disability insurance may help replace part of your income. This protection is designed to help individuals and households maintain greater financial stability during those periods when work becomes difficult or even impossible due to health-related challenges. This conversation primarily falls under the financial dimension of wealth because income supports nearly every financial goal a household is trying to accomplish. But it also affects relational wealth. Why? Because financial stress often impacts marriages, caregiving responsibilities, parenting, and household peace. Well, let's jump into it. Now, there are two different types of disability insurance. There's short-term disability insurance and there's long-term disability insurance. So what's the difference? Short-term disability is generally designed to help during shorter interruptions that may last weeks or months. So short-term disability insurance is for shorter interruptions. Maybe you have a surgery coming up and you have a post-surgery healing time where you can't do the things that you used to do until your body heals. That would be an example of a short-term disability. I experienced this once right after COVID. I went and had a invasive surgery, and the recovery time for me was right at about 8 weeks. Now, we know here on Maui, where things are expensive, where we like to eat and we like to have a roof over our head and we like to pay our bills and we like to support some of the things in our lifestyle as often and continue as possible, to be without income for 8 weeks could really affect a lot of different things. But with disability insurance, that could help to replace and protect some of the income that you would normally have made each week over the course of the time that you are, say, on bed rest, experiencing a medical related disability challenge. Also, there's long-term disability. Option 2, long-term disability is designed for more extended periods that may last several years or longer, depending on policy structure. A long-term disability might be something like a critical illness, something that prevents you from, being able to get out and do the things that you normally would do for work for extended period of times. So that's months, maybe into years. So when you think about disability insurance, the first thing I want to make sure you understand are the two types: short-term disability, weeks to months, and long-term disability, months extending into years possibly. Some people receive coverage through their employer, and others, they choose to purchase private policies independently. So if you are an employee, your employer may offer a disability insurance benefit. If you are the employer, or if you're a business owner or self-employed, you may want to seek privately owned policies to cover and protect your ability to earn income. And that brings me to a practical step for you. This week, if you are an employee, I'd like to challenge you to go and talk to HR if you don't already know, or go and talk to an insurance professional and ask one simple question. Do I currently have disability coverage? If you do, fantastic. If you do not, maybe you want to look into options, because I know at the place that I was working, when I got disability insurance, they offered it to me when I first signed up or when I first was hired. So it is an option that some employers allow you to take or leave. So look into it to see if it's an option for you. Well, there's a lot of myths with disability insurance. People don't understand the difference between, what they think disability insurance does and what it actually is or does. So my first myth that I want to tackle right now is, I've heard people say, I'm healthy, so I probably don't need disability coverage. But the reality is many disabilities are caused by illness, not accidents. You could be completely healthy and go into surgery. Did you know that women who are pregnant, the process of pregnancy and after a certain period of time, usually in that third trimester, when you go into labor, that's considered a disability. That whole process of labor and having surgery after, that doesn't mean that you're sick. You just gave birth to a whole human, right? That is an example of why a disability is not necessarily caused by an accident. Unless you didn't intend to get pregnant, that is. But that's not what we're talking about right now. Another myth that I've heard people talk about is, if I get injured or something, I work at a place where they have workers' compensation insurance, so that will cover me. But in reality, workers' comp generally applies only to work-related injury or illness. You have to be on the clock when said injury or illness happens in order to qualify and or be eligible for workers' comp insurance claims. So please don't think that because your employer has a workers' compensation, that if something happens to you, causing you to be temporarily or permanently disabled, that you will be covered by that insurance. That is incorrect. I've also heard people say that they'll just use their savings if something happens, but the reality is many households don't have enough savings to replace months or even years of lost income. Now, we've talked about it before, how to kind of assess what your expenses are and knowing your numbers. So if you have already sat down and wrote down what your expenses are for each month and multiply that times 12 to get you to a year, that would give you an idea of how much money you would have to save or have saved already to cover you during your downtime for a year or a month. Now, what if it's longer than a year? You need to have a lot of money saved. And so, therefore, most households do not have enough savings to replace months and years of lost income. And this is why your earning power deserves to be protected too. Now, this conversation is absolutely not about fear. It's about preparation, because systems build stability before emergency happens. And one of the greatest forms of financial stewardship is identifying risk before life exposes them unexpectedly. Risk avoidance is not always an option. So we want to do what we can to prepare our finances for unexpected loss of income. Now, the policies, whether short-term or long-term coverage, they have some important features that I want to share with you so that you know when you do go to investigate your opportunities for disability insurance, you have an idea of what is included in the coverage. Now, there is a very important feature that is known as own occupation or any occupation. This feature tells what this disability insurance is going to cover. For example, can you still do the job you currently do? Can you still do any job? Well, the answer to that question will help you design and intentionally choose whether or not to have a disability insurance policy that covers your own occupation versus any occupation. Now, to illustrate this, imagine that you're a hairstylist and you work with your hands all the time, braiding hair, doing locks and curls, or you're a barber and you hold those clippers and you cut hair all the time. And something happens, some type of severe injury where you may no longer be able to braid hair or hold clippers or a straight razor, or you may no longer be able to curl people's hair with hot styling tools. What are you going to do? Because you have just lost your ability to earn income professionally as a hairstylist. But that doesn't mean that you can't work at a grocery store. That doesn't mean you can't be a telemarketer. So when we talk about own occupation versus any occupation, just because a hairstylist may no longer be able to braid hair professionally, they may still be able to perform some other work. So understanding this distinction matters a lot. So I want to make sure you got that. Another example, maybe you are a construction worker and you hurt your back. And in your line of work, there's a lot of heavy lifting. If you choose a policy with an own occupation feature, then that would mean you're covered for the work that you normally do in construction. And whether or not you can, work in a nursery or be a telemarketer or a YouTuber is not a deal breaker for coverage eligibility. But if you choose a type of coverage for any occupation, that says that even though you can't be a construction worker anymore, you can still work somewhere else. So you are not eligible to file a claim at this time. I really want to make sure you understand those two features, own occupation or any occupation, because understanding that distinction matters. There's also what are called elimination periods. I like to think of them as like financial waiting rooms. The elimination period is the waiting time before that disability benefit begins. I want you to think about it like a financial waiting room. And this is one reason some households strategically build emergency reserves and properly structure financial tools in their overall financial plan. Because how many people have been in a waiting room of any sort? Sometimes the wait is short. Sometimes the wait is long. What are you going to do during the interim or in between time when the wait is longer than you would like. So some examples of how you could use or structure certain types of financial tools into your financial plan to address the time that you're in this financial waiting room, waiting for your disability insurance benefits to be activated, is you could use cash value life insurance as part of like a broader financial strategy, because there's something called policy loans and withdrawals, and they may provide temporary access to money during certain financial interruptions or waiting periods. And you say, what do I mean by that? Well, with a properly structured life insurance policy that has cash value, which means it's a permanent policy, you can access a portion of the money that you have in your cash value account tax-free through a qualified withdrawal or a policy loan. That is one way that you could get through the time while you wait for your disability insurance benefits to begin rolling in. This is what we mean by having liquidity in your financial assets, or having financial tools that you could leverage when life brings some type of financial interruption. Because policy loans or withdrawals, they may provide that temporary access to funds during the waiting room period. And this is why education about what's available as far as financial tools, how they work, and how to access them is so important, because you can design a plan to do exactly what you need it to do. So this is why I thoroughly believe that education and planning matters. It's wealth by design. What do you want to design for your life? How do you want to show up in situations like this? Now, not every disability is visible, because disabilities can include physical disabilities, cognitive, intellectual, learning-related disabilities, psychological. It could be neurological disabilities, or the disability could be connected to critical illness. And not knowing that could work against you. So when you're looking for and speaking with someone about these opportunities for disability coverage to make sure you're protecting your ability to earn, you want to keep in mind that disabilities are not just physical, and make sure you ask questions about some of these other types of disability if you're unclear on what they are and if they're eligible for protection. Now, not every policy replaces your entire paycheck. So there's two important questions you'll need to ask your HR department or your financial advisor or insurance professional. The first question you need to ask, and write this down because you'll want to ask it just like this: how much income does this policy replace? Is it 50%? Is it 70%? Is it 80%? Is it 100%? You want to know what is actually going to be replaced. And the second question you want to ask is, how long could these benefits potentially last? Now, again, we're thinking about designing our protection in a way that best serves us. So, when you're looking at these disability insurance policies, how long can the benefit last or be paid out? Is it up to 6 months? Is it a year? Is it years? Is it 90 days? Knowing this will help you by bringing clarity to this situation and helping your household prepare more intentionally. How else will you know what you need if you don't ask these questions? Is this helpful to any of you? I really hope so, because it's a subject where I never really heard anybody talk about. Not while I was in school, like high school, not while I was in college, not after I graduated from college, none of the things. Like when we talk about having a healthy financial plan, we're talking about income protection, income replacement, we're talking about income distribution, all the things. Are you protecting your income? Like, say, for instance, let's do a real world scenario. Let's see. So, what if you are a medical professional and you are considered managerial, or you have a high executive position that earns you 6 figures or more? Let's just round it off and say $100,000 a year. And all of a sudden, you have a medical related disability rise up. Let's say something like a heart attack or a stroke. And this life-changing event now prevents you from doing things that you used to do comfortably. Maybe now it's harder for you to move quickly. Maybe your motor skills are slowing down. Maybe your ability to think is slowing down. You're having trouble putting together logic in real time. It takes you more time to problem solve things. And let's also say that physically in your body, now it's hard for you to stand up for extended period of time. Or maybe it's hard for you to sit down or bend down or go up and down. But you have a very physical job because you are in the medical profession where you have to see patients and you have to consult. You have to look at and read information, ask questions of the patient, listen to the patient to identify what their needs are, their pain points that they're experiencing, and then make a recommendation for that patient, and often be a part of the delivery of the things that you recommended this patient do. But you just had a stroke, or a heart attack and you can't reason as well, it's harder for you to understand and follow the patients when they explain to you what they're feeling in their body or how it affects their life. So you're not sure now what to recommend to them. In addition to that, maybe every time you walk and you take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps or so, you have to stop because now you feel dizzy and you might fall or you might feel disoriented. So it's harder for you to get from room to speak to a patient. How are you going to function in your own occupation as a medical professional? It's going to be very difficult for you to be as helpful and valuable in the job that you used to do before this life-changing medical-related challenge arises. So what do you do? Let's take Karen. Karen is a nurse. She does all the things that I mentioned, and she also supports other staff members in doing the things that they need to do. Karen opted for a employee benefit package that included disability insurance for her own occupation. So she's covered for the things that she can do as a nurse, even if she can do other things. If for some reason something happens to Karen and she can no longer function properly in the capacity of employment as a nurse, Karen is covered. But her policy has a 90-day elimination period and a short-term payout period. Meaning, from the time that Karen files a claim, Karen has to wait 90 days before any financial benefit can click in. So 3 months. For 3 months, Karen has to be able to pay her rent. She has to be able to feed herself. Karen has 2 children. She still has to figure out how to feed the children. She has to figure out how to clean the house. She has to figure out what to do about her husband. She's married. There are so many things that Karen is juggling, and all of these things are supported by her income because Karen usually pays a babysitter to watch the 2 kids when she's at work. Karen usually orders Uber Eats to bring food to the house because her time is so limited because she is a working professional. She usually goes to her children's school at least once a week for their after-school program so that she can be actively involved in their lives. That requires her to be able to drive a car that has gas in it, get the kids ready, get them in the car, take them to this place, to the school, and stay there with them while the activities are going on. Karen will not have a paycheck for the next 90 days. She has 1 paycheck coming in from her last day's work, but after that, she has nothing. How do you think Karen feels right now? Now, luckily, Karen has a husband, but the household depends on both of their incomes to run properly, and her husband works opposite hours than Karen used to work. Now Karen has to be at home. Again, she can barely move most of the time. She's still in recovery. What is she going to do? How are the kids going to eat? Who's going to take them to school? These are the things that we want to think about when we're deciding whether or not we need disability insurance or not. Now let's compare Karen to Lily. Lily is also a medical professional, but she's not a nurse. Lily is a doctor. And Lily's on call at all times of day and night when things come up. Lily's a specialist, so she delivers babies. When there's a need for a delivery, they contact Lily. She has to come to the hospital if she's not already there, come up and see mommy-to-be, help prep mom. And then as mom sits and waits patiently for the actual moment in time when it's time to deliver a baby, then Lily must reappear and she has to go in there and help this baby come to this side to deliver the baby. Now, Lily has chosen to also get any occupation like disability insurance policy. And because she is like super aware of how much stress her job causes, she chooses to get a long-term coverage with a very short elimination period. So when Lily has a medical related challenge, let's say she finds out that she has some type of life-threatening illness. Lily can't come to work anymore. She has to go through a series of medical procedures. And that's different times of day, different days a week. This illness has made her so weak that she can barely keep her eyes open. She can't hold her hands above her head. It's hard for her to do anything she used to do. But Lily calls in the claim for her insurance, and within a short period of time, her disability coverage kicks in, and she's not worried about taking care of her mortgage because Lily has a home. She's not married. She's a doctor. She doesn't have any children. It's just her. She's all by herself. She takes very good care of the things that are in her hands to steward, but if something happens to her, there's no one she can depend on. So she's going to have to pay for in-home care to help her. She's going to have to pay for someone to make sure she eats in her home. She's going to have to pay for everything, and she will not be returning to work indefinitely. But Lily knows that she still has protected her income, and she's not worried that there will be any problem with her mortgage getting paid or eating or anything that she needs to maintain her lifestyle, because not only does Lily have a disability insurance policy that is long-term coverage, that has a short elimination period, that covers her own occupation, but she also has the emergency fund structured into a cash value life insurance policy that she can draw on. All she has to do is pick up the phone, call the insurance company, request a loan or withdrawal, and within days that money will be deposited, direct deposit into her account, and Lily can access everything and continue to maintain her life for as long as she needs to. Now, which one would you want to be? Would you want to be more like Karen, worried and anxious and stressed out for 3 months after a life-changing medical challenge with a husband and 2 kids, a mortgage and school dates and all these things and no income coming in? Or would you want to be more like Lily, who won't be returning to work, unfortunately, but yet she has made provision for all the things to be paid for, and she has options on where more money can come from, and she has more control over how long it would take to get money in her hands that she needs. Which one will you be? Because it's absolutely a reality for some people. I know people who found out one day because of medical they can't go back to work, and who didn't have life insurance, and who didn't have, other options, and who was not old enough to retire yet. And so they had the disability, but the disability had like a very, very long elimination period. And in the meantime, the rent wasn't being paid at home, wasn't sure how to feed her grandchild. There were so many things going on. This is a real scenario. And luckily, by the grace of God, this person was able to make it work. The people that are around her gave her grace on the rent and other things. But it was hard, and she was panicked, And another thing is, what happens if something like that happens to you, and now you have to take your retirement early, or you have to withdraw from other savings early and get a penalty on that, meaning they're going to charge you 10% or 20% of your balance just for accessing the money early because you have an emergency. So I'm just trying to illustrate some real world situations where disability insurance coverage would make all the difference in your outcomes. Now, if today's conversation made you realize there may be gaps in your income protection plan, I want to personally invite you to join us for the next free Wealth Reset webinar. It's held virtually the first Thursday of each month at Student of Wealth, Hawaii. We help business owners, working women, and purpose-driven households identify these type of financial blind spots and explore practical systems designed to create greater stability and peace of mind. I love helping people uncover needs and clarify goals and discover creative solutions that they can build independently or strategically. We could build it with my guidance and support. So to reserve your free seat, feel free, visit studentofwealthhawaii.com and sign up for the next Wealth Reset webinar. We'll send you a free ticket directly to your email. If you're just joining us, my name is Aviella Aloha, and I love this work that I'm doing. I coach like systems, not motivation, because systems build wealth. Even on those days when motivation is low. Do you think if you were experiencing a medical challenge that your motivation would be high for all the things that you have going? Would you have the energy to support the disciplines you developed? You may not. That energy may be low. And that's the thing. That's one of the most, I think, valuable systems that you can build is protecting your ability to earn. Think about it. If you knew you could protect your ability to earn, would you not? I don't know. But before we close today's conversation, let's quickly recap the major takeaways from today. Disability insurance awareness episode. Because there was a lot there, and I tried to get presented in the way that I hope is conversational. And this stuff, this is people think this kind of stuff is boring, but this kind of stuff can be really cool if you have a plan together that will take care of all your needs. I mean, can you imagine if this was just something that you didn't have to worry about? Because prepared people approach things differently. They act differently. They live differently. They choose differently. So, let's recap for today. Number 1, your ability to earn income is one of your greatest financial assets. It deserves protection too. Disability insurance is designed to help protect a portion of your income if illness or injury prevents you from working. That's what disability insurance does. This is Disability Insurance Awareness Month. I hadn't seen anything or heard anything about it, so I wanted to do something about it. So in case you missed that, disability insurance is designed to help protect a portion of your income if illness or injury prevents you from working. Number 3, short-term and long-term disability coverage serve different purposes and may be available through an employer or sponsor or private policies. 4, understanding policy details matters, especially own occupation versus any occupation. Elimination periods, benefit amounts, and benefit periods. Strong financial stewardship includes building systems before emergencies happen, because preparation creates greater stability, clarity, and peace of mind. Motivation might help you start building the wealth you desire, but systems will help you protect it. Preparation creates peace. Clarity creates confidence. And strong financial systems create greater stability for the people and purposes we care about most. Today's broadcast of Student of Wealth Radio Hour, it was underwritten by Student of Wealth Hawaii, your home for financial education, strategic stewardship, and purpose-driven wealth building. To learn more about upcoming wealth strategy sessions, educational workshops, and project-based learning opportunities, visit studentofwealthhawaii.com. That's studentofwealthhawaii.com. And as a reminder, in case you forgot, if you are an employee, go and talk to HR. See if you already have disability insurance. And if you do, ask, what does it cover? How long can this coverage possibly last? What amount of my income does it protect? All you have to do is ask. And if you don't have disability coverage currently, it may be an opportunity for you to see what's available. This is Student of Wealth Radio Hour. My name's Aviella Aloha. I'm your financial educator, your clarity agent, and your purpose-driven wealth creator. I'm so happy and grateful for each and every one of you under the sound of my voice. Special hey to my Geminis out there. I hope y'all are having a wonderful experience. I'm hoping that everyone here is feeling blessed as we all make it our purpose to be better stewards of all 7 dimensions of wealth. Until next time, protect what provides, steward what grows, and continue building wealth with purpose and clarity. Aloha!
Program to help farmers transition to organic farming has been cut short.